One world currency.
The New World Order.
Those are the roots of trouble.
I imagine that right now you're feeling a bit like Alice, tumbling down the rabbit hole. Let me tell you why you're here. You're here because you know something. What you know you can't explain, but you feel it. You felt it your entire life. That there's something wrong with the world. You don't know what it is, but it's there, like a splinter in your mind, driving you mad. It is this feeling that has brought you to me. This is your last chance. After this, there is no turning back. You take the blue pill, the story ends. You wake up in your bed and believe whatever you want to believe. You take the red pill, you stay in Wonderland, and I show you how deep the rabbit hole goes. All I'm offering is the truth, nothing more.
For we are opposed around the world by a monolithic and ruthless conspiracy that relies primarily on covert means for expanding its sphere of influence, on infiltration instead of invasion, on subversion instead of elections, on intimidation instead of free choice, on guerrillas by night instead of armies by day. It is a system which has conscripted vast human and material resources into the building of a tightly knit, highly efficient machine that combines military, diplomatic, intelligence, economic, scientific, and political operations. Its preparations are concealed, not published. Its mistakes are buried, not headlined. Its dissenters are silenced, not praised. No expenditure is questioned, no rumor is printed, no secret is revealed. But I am asking your help in the tremendous task of informing and alerting the American people.
And now, welcome to another episode of Down the Rabbit Hole. Here's your host from federaljack.com. It's Popeye.
Ladies and gentlemen, it is August 12th, 2012. Welcome to this live Sunday edition of Down the Rabbit Hole. And before I get started today, there's something I want to touch on really quick. On Friday, I had Holland on, Holland Van and Nieuwenhof, and we did Overdrive. We did like almost another 2 hours of radio off air, which I'll be getting the archive up within the next day or so, and get it finished and up on YouTube. But while we were talking, we were discussing Gary Webb, and he had mentioned that Gary, whether it was suicide or whether it was shady, the weapon involved in his death was a .38. And I had said that I had seen that it was a shotgun. And I wanted to correct that. Actually, Holland was correct. It was a .38. I was mixing up in my head the death of George de Mohrenschildt from the JFK assassination and that conspiracy in itself. And I had mixed his death with Gary Webb's death, and I had said that Gary had shot himself with a shotgun, but that's not, or the story goes that Gary shot himself with a shotgun, but that's not what happened. It was a .38 revolver. Now, I could debate, whoever for however long about whether or not it was suicide or not, but I'm not going to get into that. But I wanted to correct that. Holland was correct. It was a .38 revolver, not a shotgun. And I was mistaken, and I had mixed it up with in my brain because sometimes there's just too many facts floating around up there, and I had mixed it up accidentally with George de Mohrenschildt's death. And I wanted to make sure after I got off air, when things like that happen, it always sticks in the back of my mind. So as soon as we got off air, I went and I researched Gary Webb's death, and I was like, wow, okay, I was incorrect. So I sent a message to Holland and told him, hey, you were right. And the first thing I wanted to do was make sure I addressed it on air today. So yes, Holland was correct. Gary Webb did die due to 2 shots to the head from a .38 revolver. Now, again, even that in itself, when you look that up, you'll see that even I think it was the sheriff or police chief or whoever, medical person, coroner maybe, that said that even 2 shots to the head with a .38 is kind of something odd. So I still think it's shady. Who knows, maybe Gary Webb did kill himself, but I wanted to make sure I addressed that right off the bat, very first thing. So, see, when I'm wrong, I give out if I say something on air and I make a mistake or something, I like to address it right quick and get right to it and say, hey, no, I made a mistake. That was I mixed up the information in my head when I was on air. No biggie, but it is something that needs to be corrected. So taken care of. Now, getting on to today's show, I wanted to go over the craziness of what's been going on the past couple of days with the news and everything else. I want to dissect a few things, and I wanted to get an ulterior, not ulterior, but someone else's opinion other than my own on a few things. And I usually bring guests on the show. You guys are no surprise to it. And the guest I have on today is a regular, I would say, to the program. He's been here multiple times now. And he's pretty well known in the YouTube community, Patriot community, because he's had, 4 or 5 or 6 different YouTube channels now eradicated. He's right up there with me, and that's how I originally met him. So I wanted to bring him on today to go over the insanity, what's been going on with his YouTube channel, because he's been under attack lately, and I just wanted to get his opinion on a few things. So you all know him. He runs the YouTube channel known as Pigmine, Pigmine 2, Pigmine 3, Pigmine 80,000, whatever number he's on now. Rob, are you with me?
I am. I'm here. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you loud and clear. Thanks for coming back on the show today.
Oh, thank you, Popeye. I appreciate you having me back up. I like coming on your show. In fact, I think your show is the only show that I do. Occasionally I've been on another show, but this is the main one. I like it here. I like your show a lot. You allow your guests to get the message out, and I like the array of topics that you cover. So, I really appreciate you, Popeye. And I know you've been going through this for years, too, just like me. It gets frustrating and stuff. But I noticed in the past year you've really been doing good. Your show's growing a lot. The network's growing great. Website's looking great. Well, all your websites are looking great. And I noticed you've got some of your YouTube channels back online, which is good news.
I actually wanted to talk to you about that. And I'm glad you brought that up, because we just talked about it on air. I forgot to mention it when we were chatting off air. But yeah, I managed to get the older channels back and not now. All the strikes are gone, and I got longer than 15-minute upload capabilities to them. So all the channels that were sitting there parked for a while, my strategy worked. I left them alone, took the heat off of them.
Yeah.
The copyright strikes are gone. Well, you know how that is, man. You've been through that yourself. Did you just get one of your channels back, your big one?
I did. It was in limbo for a little bit. I guess the people who do YouTube enough know that once you get your strike, you have 3 strikes. The third one, you're dead. So it was sitting on 2 strikes. And what I had to do was, obviously, they file a strike and they don't care. So you have to file a counterclaim, and you have to be ready to go to federal court for it and fight over the copyright. But I did, and I won, so thank God. It's not really, for me, the channels are growing good and stuff, but it's not about how many views I get or how many. I do like having a lot of subscribers. The main reason for that, and this too, is you can get the message out easier with the more subscribers you have, so it's good to do that. But I don't make any money from the YouTube channel and stuff. It's just about getting the message out. And sometimes here lately, I've had some frustrations because I know that the vast majority of what I do post is mainstream news. So I guess I'm kind of the, I don't know how you would say it, but I walk the fine line on a fence. Now, don't get me wrong. I don't buy into a lot of it. And the videos I put up, sometimes I'll put up a video. It's a mainstream video. I will do that for information purposes only, people. I'm not here trying to propagate the propaganda, is what I'm trying to say. And another thing that's been bothering me lately is, I guess it's this fear-mongering issue. I'm not trying to fear-monger. If I was trying to fear-monger, I would be selling something. So what I'm trying to do is, yes, I have some of the worst video you can imagine on the channel. I'm over 7,000 videos now, so it's a lot of work for one person. And most of them are scary. And I don't want you to be scared. I don't want people to say, oh, he's scared or whatever. It's not really about that. It's,
No, you do a service, man. honestly, there was a lot more of us back in the day. There was, there was a rather larger group of people that did the same thing we did, and it wasn't like we all had a meeting and then went out and did it. It was just something that everybody was doing on their own, and we kind of met up on YouTube years ago. And unfortunately, more than half of us have been taken out, and a lot of people, they just get so pissed off, they get tired of rebuilding their channels over and over and over again, that eventually they just get frustrated and they quit. And I can't say as I blame them, dude. This is not an easy thing to continue to put up with. It's a hard fight. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we got a break sneaking up on us. Stay tuned, 3 minutes. Rob and I will be back. Don't go anywhere. We are back, and we're going to go over some of the news and stuff, and I'm going to get Rob's take on a few things. But first, when Rob's on, I like to give out tips to people that use YouTube to spread the message and stuff like that. And I don't want to say YouTubers because that's like a label. That's like truther. I can't stand that. But you know what I mean. People that are out there using it to spread the word and get truth out. And I like to, whenever Rob, you come on, we always go over some tips or the latest censorship things that we've noticed with YouTube, and I like to put it out there on the airwaves. That way when people hear it, they know what to look for, because I see so many times, even in the alternative news community, I see people flipping out. I'm being, the feds are taking my video down, or it's this or that, or whoever, and screaming and yelling, and it's like, wait, you guys just got to look. It's YouTube dicking with you on the back end. And a lot of times it's stuff that is controllable on our end, but the general populace doesn't know it. And if they do, turn off the embed function on a video or the syndication function, people don't know where to look to turn that stuff back on. Now, I don't even know if you can still, with the new YouTube channel design, I don't even know if you can turn the syndication on or off anymore. But they used to. Remember, you used to be able to go in the back end and you could turn syndication off, embedding. And anytime I noticed you'd upload a video, whether it was you or me, if we uploaded CNN, anything from CNN, automatically the embedding would be disabled. You'd have to go in and go back and turn everything on. It was almost like if it had the CNN logo, it had the standing order to turn the embedding off on every video.
Yeah. You know what? I did know that. And I was checking with the new design to see if you still have all these options that you used to have. I haven't checked that in a while. I don't usually embed my own videos, so I haven't checked that. But YouTube's just YouTube is just out of control, though. It's not. Yeah, you're correct though when you say that. A lot of times people will think they're being censored, and a lot of times it's just the robots that YouTube has. I call them robots, but it's basically their automated voice print or video print systems they have, and people will put up. They'll put up a movie, such as some of these Patriot movies that we've heard about here lately that have supposedly been censored because of a voice. Well, a lot of times that's not actually correct. It's the music print that will get the videos censored. And when they call it censored, it's not really even censored. It's been copyrighted. And what it is that people will put up their movie and it'll have a clip of a song in it. And a lot of times the recording label of that song will have their song in the YouTube database, and it just matches, and they will put a copyright on it. And I mean, if you have someone's music on your video, you can a lot of times still go ahead and post the video. You'll just have to accept their ads on your video, and they're going to make the ad profit, and not you. But
the ad thing, if I'm uploading someone else's video and I'm re-uploading it, I don't care if ads pop up, if it's their original video. If that's their thing, that's cool. I can understand that. I respect that. No problem.
Right. Well,
the thing that pisses me off is when Universal Music Group, UMG, or all the rest of them. There's tons of them that do it, but Universal's like the king of it. They like to get you can't even upload a video anymore. Remember back in the day, they used to have people go around and look for the videos and then put a strike on them. Now, like you said, it's all automated. So as soon as the video goes up, when it says processing, it's running it through its database. And if there's the slightest thing that kicks off in there, like the speech from Kennedy in my intro,
Right. That's copyrighted. Yeah, you can buy it off of iTunes.
You've seen it. Yeah, you've seen it. If you upload anything with that in there, you'll see it'll pop up, oh, buy it here. And you get I don't know if they still do it, but I remember they used to have the little iTunes thing pop down where you could buy it on iTunes or Amazon underneath the video. And then it'll say, this video contains, third-party material. And you're like, are you kidding me? That's a speech from the President of the United States. How do you copyright that and, third-party crap it? But somebody's making money off of it.
Right. Where it really gets into complications is when you put up a video. And one time I edited together a video with all the different presidents dating back to, I believe, World War II. But each time there's, what they call police actions for Korea and Vietnam and these little skirmishes or peace actions or whatever we have. But anytime the president unilaterally declares, he doesn't really declare war, but he sends the troops. But every time he makes that commanding statement from the West Wing of the White House or wherever it is, I took the clips of each one of them, 30 seconds worth. President Clinton, I hereby sent missiles to Baghdad and just whatever. But I had like 20 of them because there's been a lot of military action. And, each one of them is copyrighted. So, you'll get and that's where the complication arrives is if you have two different copyright claims on the same video, only one person can put their ad on your video. So that's when they will either block it or they will they'll just remove the audio track from it and it'll just be a silent video, which is ridiculous.
The one thing I do like is the fact that if you have a video where it's just music as the audio track, there's no talking or anything else. I've done this a few times where it was a video I uploaded from somebody else and their audio track would, got copyrighted or whatever. You can go in with YouTube and they have music that's, I guess, you can use whatever right free or whatever that they have the rights to use.
Yeah.
And a lot of times if there's something where, like, if it's not going to screw the audio track up on the video or whatever that's there, I'll do that rather than delete the video. And that has worked, too, because then it removes the, not being able to be seen in other countries and people can still see the video. So it all depends on the situation. But a lot of times if there's audio in there, I've seen it where there's a whole radio show. I've had it with my show. I actually changed bumper music and stuff. One of the first bumpers I had, and I can't remember what song it was right now, but one of the first bumpers I had when I put up one of my first shows last year on YouTube, it was blocked worldwide because there was like a 10-second clip, not even, of the bumper music in there, and they blocked it worldwide. So I didn't want to go, and in that case, change the music because then it just completely eradicates the whole audio track. So all you would have heard is music, but you wouldn't have heard the radio show. So in that situation, it sucks. You got to go back and you just got to be, a lot stricter, I guess, with your editing. But even then, if I play clips, I play clips on my show all the time. You listen, and there are times I'll upload the show to YouTube, and they give me third-party crap. Oh, you have someone else's crap, and I have to email them, respond back and say, no, I do a radio show. This is called fair use. It completely falls under fair use by law. You don't have the right to do this to me. And I have to argue with them every time. And 9 times out of 10, you win. Once in a while, you get told, we're still going to, the other party says that they don't care, and we're going to uphold their claim. See, I don't like that. I don't like it. They don't give you many options to fight. You have more options now than you used to, at least. At least when you get a copyright strike, they give you the email of the person that filed it. I remember back in the day, you used to just get a strike and that was it.
Well, actually, I did get a strike here a couple back in June, and I did not get the email address. Now, they gave me, it was WGBH out of Boston, which is this PBS channel. And, I mean, they are totally establishment. Anytime you turn on NPR or C-SPAN, I believe, but you always hear credits for WGBH. But I did not get an email that time. Now, you're correct, though. Normally they do. But they have eased up on us a little bit and given us more options. But it's still pretty limited. It's stuff to be careful, real careful.
I agree. It is still super limited, and they still screw with us. But there are a few changes here or there. But for every good change, there's 10 more bad changes. All right, ladies and gentlemen, break sneaking up on us. Stay tuned. Don't go anywhere. More when Rob and I get back. We are back, ladies and gentlemen. So, wrapping it up with the solution-oriented talk of what goes on with YouTube and the censorship there, it's really simple. You just need to pay attention to your YouTube channel. You have to scrutinize it. If your video is blocked off, right off the bat, if something is blocked on it or if something looks hinky, go back and go into the video settings itself and see what you can still play with. I don't remember if you can. I know you can turn the embed function on and off, but I don't know if they still allow you to do synchronous or syndication. Syndication was when you wanted to watch it on a cell phone or a wireless device or a mobile device. And what I noticed what they would do is if they didn't turn the embed function off, they'd turn the syndication function off. So you can still put it on websites and people on computers could see it. But if I tried to if I brought up my YouTube channel on my cell phone and looked at the video, it would say this video is not available on mobile devices. And then I would literally look at my phone and go in and click the, change it and, the syndication option and hit save, and I'd watch it pop up in my video list on my cell phone. So that's one of the ways they go and they dick with things. If you run a YouTube channel and you're out there trying to push the truth out and you find a video is screwy or you can't embed it or something, before you freak out and make a video on YouTube saying, I'm being censored by the feds, look at your own settings. Yes, you might be getting screwed with by YouTube, but sometimes it's a quick, simple fix. You can just go in and undo it yourself. Now, as to why that happens, like back in the day, Rob, when we were talking about how the embed function and the syndication stuff used to just automatically be turned off, certain videos would do that. If you uploaded stuff from CNN or if you uploaded a clip sometimes from maybe Fox News or something, it would do it. So is it something in their automated software that was doing it? Probably. It's probably a setting that each of those networks had with YouTube that said, if a video comes up like this, I want you to, have it automatically turn the embed function and then the syndication function off. And if you don't pay attention to it, you won't know it until you start getting messages like in the comments and stuff. Why can't I watch this? Embedding disabled by request, WTF? Or why can't I watch this on my iPhone? Things like that. Once I start to see comments like that, that's when I looked into it and I realized what they were doing. So just pay attention. Yeah, it sucks that they do that. It is a form of censorship, but it's not even a human being sitting in a room doing it. Like Rob said, it's a computer. I figured that out a few years ago. Remember when it used to be humans, Rob? It was much easier to actually fight this fight. And then they started breaking out the software, and that was it.
Oh, yeah. Well, YouTube was famous for having its trolls. They were everywhere. And, they're still there, but now all they do is just flag a video for inappropriate content. That's what the trolls do now. But the trolls used to go into the video settings, and I believe they were the ones at the time messing with us. They would do anything they could to stop the message if it was an important video. But like you said, now the computers have taken over. And as far as some of these videos, they have they're kind of meta files attached to the video file. If you're going to upload the video and you don't even know it, the video, just like if you're going to print a photograph at, say, one of your local, your whatever, Fox Photo or whatever, every time you take a photo or print it, or if you use your home printer or anything, there's a microcode embedded on the photograph itself. It's if you look and you'll see it in the right light, it's going to be a little series of yellow and red dots, and basically it says the location. If they can put your name on it, they're going to. So, but when you upload a video to YouTube, a lot of these videos have code embedded along with the video code, if it's an MPEG-4. Which is a QuickTime file, that's always going to have all kinds of information embedded along with video code. So that's just a warning to people, too, that if you're going to upload something and you want to do it anonymously, you better be extremely careful of the video source itself, because if you take a video from, say, your iPhone, that video whether you have your location on or not, that video has your identity attached to that video permanently. And people, you may not ever see it on the code, but like the FBI or other agencies can see that. And especially over at Apple, they can see it. They're so disgusting over there. But another thing like CNN.
Facebook, too, by the way.
Yeah, Facebook is just the worst.
If you
Be careful,
upload
Facebook
not just Facebook, MySpace too, but like Facebook in general, because that's what everybody uses. If they you upload pictures from your cell phone to Facebook, like right from your phone to Facebook, you automatically it puts the. I mean, you could even if you pull the SIM card out and everything, you can do it. The pictures themselves, if you upload it, they have geographical data in the picture inside that meta file. And when you upload it to Facebook or MySpace, whatever, anybody with $45, you can buy the software online. You can get this program, and with a simple hovering of the mouse or the cursor rather over the picture and a right click of the mouse, you can get not really the name of the individual or anything like that, but more than enough information that you would need. You get the exact coordinates and geographical data of where that photo was taken. Right. So you don't need someone's. I mean, it would be nice to have someone's name, but talk about if you wanted to track someone, you were already on their page, right? So you don't need their name to be attached to a photo. They're saying, hey, I took this picture with my camera phone. It's me, my boyfriend, and my dog. We're having fun at the park. And someone says, I want to know what park this girl hangs out at. And they go buy this software. $45. They right-click on the photo, and it brings up the exact coordinates, which they can now look up on Google Earth or whatever other interesting software they have if they're, some sort of agency or whatever. Now, even if you're not worried about, the federal government, and by any means, even if you don't think that they're out to get you, or if you don't believe in conspiracies or the New World Order or any of that, think about it this way. Would you want someone to be able to have the ability to know where you are at all times? Because that's what we're doing with this Facebook, Twitter, Foursquare. That stuff kills me, Rob. Because people will go, they hook it up to their Twitter and their Facebook, and when you go to the store, Foursquare sends a message from your phone to Twitter and to Facebook. Hey, I'm at Bob's Fish Market on 123rd Main Street in Pascagoula, Mississippi, come, blah, 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 blah. I mean, literally get everything.
Yeah, come rob me. We're not home.
I'm not at home.
Take everything I have.
Yeah, go to my house and rob the shit out of me because we're not home. So please go clean my house out because we were dumb enough. My mom always told me from the time I was a little kid about giving out too much info, personal info and stuff like that. Don't share that type of info with everybody and their mother. And the reason they learned the hard lesson was when her father, my grandfather, died. You put the funeral notices and stuff in the newspaper. Well, somebody who knew my grandfather and knew he had a couple guns, waited until they saw his thing in the newspaper. They said, "Oh, his funeral's going to be at this time." They went to the house because they knew everybody was going to be at the graveyard burying my grandfather. And they robbed my grandmother and grandfather's house and stole whatever little jewelry my grandmother had and whatever guns my grandfather had while they were burying him in the ground. So I learned at a very young age to not put your personal information out like that. That's why that Foursquare thing really that bugs me out, dude. Because I see people all the time, even people like I follow on Twitter, some rather intelligent individuals that you would in the alternative media, and it'll. All of a sudden it'll pop up on Twitter. I'm at, blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, dude, why would you want to announce to everybody and their mother, not that you have anything to hide, but what about a stalker?
Oh, I mean, it's just
even if you're not afraid of the New World Order, what about the sick bastards that are out there, that are, they stalk people? This is like their wet dream, dude.
Oh, it is. I mean, you could, if you just sit there and, like you said, if you're a stalker, or, you could just hover over someone's profile on Facebook and you can learn a lot about them just like within an hour or two. You already know, all their friends, where they go, who they are. And I mean, everybody's looked at someone's Facebook profile that they don't really know the person, but you just check it out for a second. You know what I'm saying? It's not like you're really stalking, but if you were a stalker is what I'm trying not to implicate myself.
No, I know exactly what you mean, dude. If you were a stalker and you wanted to stalk somebody with $45, you could easily without an issue at all.
Well, that's the people who want to hide their information. Most people, they don't want to hide, all their information. They have the location already turned on and everything else.
Well, that's what I'm saying, but it's just people are getting so used to being out there that, eventually privacy is going to become a thing of the past. That's what I see. All right, you got a break sneaking up on us, Rob. Ladies and gentlemen, don't go anywhere. We're back, ladies and gentlemen. And anyone wishing to purchase Mike Murphy's film, Why in the World Are They Spraying? Feel free to go to OrionTalkRadio.com or FederalJack.com. We have widgets up there which will bring you, you click on it, and it brings you right to their website, and you can purchase the film from Mike's website. And I urge you to support those guys because the film that is an incredible tool to wake people up. And, when you buy it, they encourage you to buy it, upload it to YouTube, send copies out all over the place, make bazillions of copies. I really find that, they have to sell the initial, professional super with whatever special features they put on it, a DVD edition. But they also encourage you to make free copies and hand them out as much as you possibly can. So support them. I mean, they're not rich. Mike made this movie. He lives a very humble life. I know him personally, and he lives a pretty humble life. He really is a humble individual. And also, if you feel like if you're going to be going to the RNC and you want to go to Paul Fest, anyone interested in going, I have a link to their website up on Federal Jack. You can get, they have like a purchase page or whatever you can get tickets from. So both links are over on Federal Jack. And the link to Mike's Why in the World Are They Spraying? The second part is up on Orion as well. During the break, I bring this up because during the break, Rob asked me if I had seen the new movie yet. And yes, I have, because Mike sent me a screener copy. And I had him on. I interviewed him. And I've had him on multiple times, but I interviewed him after he sent me the screener because he wanted to talk about the new film. And I said, yeah, we need to get this out. We need to let people know how powerful this is. So I was glad to have him on. And Rob asked me if it was a powerful movie. And I said, yeah, and we were talking about geoengineering. And the subject of the droughts came up. So I wanted to talk about this on air a little bit. To answer your question from during the break when you said, I'm willing to bet that, these droughts are probably caused, I wouldn't be surprised. Do you think they are? It's like, yes, from what I've seen, the research I've seen, including stuff that Mike sent me, that these droughts, and I even asked Mike this on air, these droughts are without a doubt a result of them geoengineering the planet. Now, they're doing this for a reason. Now, there's a multitude of different things that you could gain from creating a drought. I mean, look at the price of beef. Right now, everybody's like, oh, the price of beef is down. What are you talking about? I go to my local grocery store, and the price of beef is, $3.99 a pound or $4.99 a pound. And that's the 90% lean stuff. Yeah, well, in about 3 months, that beef is going to be like $15.99 a pound because there's going to be no more cattle. Because right now, all the ranchers are selling off their heads of cattle because they can't afford corn, because in the month of July alone, because of the drought, the price of corn went up something like 27%. So that's a huge way that this drought is going to affect you. It might not affect you now. Droughts don't affect me. I don't live in the middle of the country. Stupid people, they shouldn't live there. I live down in like the Gulf, by the Gulf of Mexico, or I live in Texas, or I live in Florida, or I live wherever. Well, or I live up in New Jersey or Vermont. Well, guess what? It is going to affect you, because that's where a lot of the food comes from, is the middle of the country. And isn't that coincidental and convenient that that's where this massive drought happens to be hitting? And like Rob made a really good point during the break, they can drop 10 feet of rain, wherever the hell they want. So there's no reason to be having this issue. So the question then remains as to why have they not, if they have the ability to control weather, which they do, and they're not, at the very least, they're not causing the drought, why have they not done anything to alleviate the symptoms because they know what it's going to do. Well, that's because somebody's going to make money somewhere, aren't they? What say you, Rob?
Well, that's a very complex issue we're dealing with here, weather control. I think they've done it. Look, it's simple. If they can make it rain, they can make it not rain. It's a simple matter of physics. I mean, if you want to make rain, is what you do, you condense the water in the atmosphere, right? If you want to not make it rain, you, whatever the opposite of condense is, expand it out. You know what I'm saying? So you would think that if they can attach a negative ion to the water and air, it would come together, and if you attach a positive ion, it's going to repel itself. So I really think they can. I mean, look, North Korea is going through its worst drought ever, and they all blame American weather makers for that problem, you know. And then they've done scientific experiments where they've made it rain and made it not rain. So it's simple. Like the ad says, if they can control the weather, they can control the planet. And it's pretty obvious they can, because I did a little report on this about 4 years ago, because someone called in to a well-known radio show that we all know about, and they said, and this was back in 2006 that this call came in, and it was just an anonymous call called in and said, hey, you want to check out direct and semi-direct aerosol dispersants or something to that effect. And it was just a random call, so I heard it, and I said, well, okay, I'll check it out. So I started checking into it, and I was like, wow, this is it right here. This is the mother of all the info right here, the mother load of info, and it was all the geoengineering stuff. Now, I'm not saying I broke it, but I was like at the tip of the spear way back then when the geoengineering thing did pop out. And I remember, though, I did find an article, and I did write an article, and it did break, and it was a Council on Foreign Relations. They have a magazine and a website, but the magazine is called Foreign Affairs. And in there I found an article all about this geoengineering. I didn't find it in the magazine. I found it on the website. And if you go to the CFR website and use their search engine and punch in geoengineering, you'll get some information. So what I found it very interesting that, you know, you have one of these top think tanks that basically control all of American policy, and here they are in secret behind closed doors figuring out what geoengineering is, you know, going to do good for us or bad or whatever they're going to do. But you know, look, remember that earthquake they had back in Bam, Iran a few years ago? Just totally devastating, super powerful earthquake. And then I think they just had another earthquake here a couple days ago.
Yeah, I think they just had one yesterday.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's kind of the same concept. If you could control the weather, well, I think if you could control the earth below someone's feet.
Well, it's plausible deniability. That's what it's all about. I mean, think about, first of all, you can control, if you control the weather, and you, I mean, with the weather comes the control of the, you know, causing earthquakes. But if you can control the weather just by doing drought and things like that, you can literally destroy the enemy. And in their eyes, that, you know, I'm doing air quotes, the enemy, we're the citizens, the civilians, we're the enemy, and they can literally destroy the enemy. Like Kissinger said, if you can control the food, then you control everything. So basically, how do you control the food? Well, we can put chemicals in it and stuff like that. Well, they're not dying fast enough. Well, how can we control the food even more? Well, let's create a shortage of food. Let's create a drought. Well, you know, how are we going to do that? We just don't allow it to rain in a certain area for a month and a half or 2 months. And, you know, the sunlight will do the rest on its own. And that's the kind of stuff that they do. And as far as earthquakes, dude, it gives them, it's a plausible deniability. We couldn't have done that. What do you think, we're God? We don't have that ability to make earthquakes happen. You must be a crazy conspiracy theorist to have that, you know, to have that thought. Although there's treaties on the books about weather weapons and such. So it's not a conspiracy theory. There's treaties about this.
Well, I think it was William Cohen. I think he was a former Secretary of Defense, possibly. Now, you know, don't hold me to that, but I believe there was an article out there where he was talking about earthquake weapons. So I'm not saying they have them, okay? But look, they always have stuff that we don't know about. And I guarantee that someone sat down in a laboratory somewhere and did crunch the numbers and figured out, can we, shake a tectonic plate? Well, yeah, I think it would be pretty easy if they used the right resonance and stuff. And look, they've done a lot of investigations, all these shows on television.
Brooks Agnew has showed about, how it's possible. He even showed, I think he was doing, if I remember correctly, he was doing like using ground penetrating radar to look for oil or something for a company, and he accidentally triggered an earthquake.
Oh, that's right. I forgot. And how about all the fracking going on? Every
that
time
too.
Fracking nearby, there's always 5.5 earthquakes in places where there's never earthquakes, and
like the one in Virginia.
Yeah, well, they're everywhere now, Popeye. These earthquakes, they're in, solid bedrock for 200 miles deep, and they have an earthquake there. But I guess my point is they do stuff we don't know about. And, look, all the investigative reports in the HARP, and still no one really knows what they're doing up there. I mean, and it's simple because, nothing is really solid. So if you think you're on solid ground, obviously you're not. It's made up of, atoms, people, elements.
And atoms have already been proved to be hollow. So what the hell makes up the atom? If we're made up of atoms, which themselves are hollow, then how the hell are we physically solid? Ooh.
Well, that's a good point. Now,
drop that one like 45 seconds before we go into break. That'll really make them think while we're at break. But it's interesting to think about it for a second. We're physical. I'm physically sitting at a desk, and the atoms that make up the physical desk that I'm sitting at are hollow.
Well, they're worse than hollow. They're 99.9% nothing.
Yeah, empty space. So,
empty space, yeah.
I wonder what makes up the atom that physically makes up the desk that I'm physically sitting at. Ooh, we just threw that out there. All right, we're going to break, ladies and gentlemen. Rob and I will be back. Just playing around a little bit. But yes, that is true about the atom thing. When we come back, we're going to get more into weather manipulation and a few other things, so don't go anywhere. Ladies and gentlemen, we are back with hour number 2 here on today's live edition of Down the Rabbit Hole. It is Sunday, August 12th, 2012. I am your host, Popeye, from federaljack.com. That is my website. Feel free to peruse it whenever you would like. Everything is free. Tons of info, ebooks, videos, and more, articles. And today I'm hanging out with my good buddy and frequent guest here on the radio show, Rob, who runs the YouTube channels Pigmine, Pigmine 2, Pigmine 3, probably all the way up to Pigmine 10,000 now, because he's constantly attacked. In fact, Rob, you have a whole bunch of shows, or a whole bunch of YouTube channels. Really quick, give yourself shameless plugs for every channel that is up and functioning currently.
Right. Okay. Thank you. Well, currently, I use one at a time normally because I'm one person. So that's Pigmine 3. It's just youtube.com/user/PIGMINE numeral 3. And you can find it on Facebook too. It's Pigmine News on Facebook and Pigmine News on Twitter. And I have another one. It's Pigmine 2. And I mean, I have 4 and 5, like Popeye says, but they're just kind of laying dormant right now. So mainly, just go to Pigmine 3 or Pigmine 2, and you'll find me there. Or Pigmine News on YouTube. I mean, on Twitter and Facebook, and you'll find it there. But yeah, thanks for the plug there, Pop. And
well, I'm gonna give you another plug because during the break, you found that document that you were talking about. You found a link to it, and it was funny because guess where the link goes to? What he's talking about earthquake weapons and everything we were discussing the end of the first hour. I know it sounds crazy, but Rob found the link, what he was talking about. You can see it dates back to April 28th, of 1997, April 28th, 1997. It's even time-stamped, 8:45 a.m. EDT, okay? And it's right from where, Rob? The U.S. Department of Defense.
That's right. It's official transcript of Secretary of Defense William S. Cohen. And so I just wanted to get to the meat of the matter here. And so I did a Control F, which people need to learn how to use their search engines and learn how to use their Control Find button. And you're going to get more information a lot faster. Just learn to use your search engine properly. Use keywords. It's simple. William Cohen, earthquake, DOD. But So I controlled F, and it takes you down here. He was in an interview with Cigar Aficionado, I believe, and this is a transcript that the Department of Defense made for that interview. And he's talking. Now, of course, they always, I think what the deal is, they have to tell you what's going on, but kind of discreetly in advance. But he was saying, now, some countries, there's reports that some countries may be trying to construct things like the Ebola virus. Now, remember, this is back in 97. Well, we have the Ebola virus now. I think it's in Texas. I'm not sure. No, that's right. It's we have other viruses in Texas. The Ebola virus still is running rampant in Africa and everywhere else. It's just going crazy. And that would be a very dangerous phenomenon. Of course it would, but it wouldn't be a phenomenon. They release it from their laboratories. So then it goes on to say... that there's scientists trying to devise certain types of pathogens that would be ethnic specific, so they could just eliminate certain ethnic groups and races, which are, race-specific bioweapons that we talk about a lot that they have now. But this is in 97. And others are designing some sort of engineering, some sort of insects that can destroy specific crops. And others are engaging in eco type of terrorism whereby they can alter the climate, set off earthquakes, set off volcanoes remotely through the use of electromagnetic waves. I don't know if people heard that, but they can use electromagnetic waves to set off earthquakes and volcanoes, okay? Now, I mean, and the interview goes on, but it's a question and answer session, and you can read it there. I'll put the link on Pigmine News on my Facebook page.
Yeah, I'm going to actually repost this whole thing.
Yeah, it's crazy.
On Federal Jack when I get off air after the show today. I'm going to repost the whole thing. Mm-hmm. And I'll just title it like Flashback, something, whatever. So just look for something with the title of Flashback and then whatever the rest of the title will be, and it'll be posted up on Federal Jack, because this is super, this is like smoking gun right in your face evidence. Back all the way in 97, that they were talking about how they could use, for lack of a better term, earthquake weapons. I mean, that's pretty much what they're talking about here, Rob. I mean, this isn't science fiction, dude. This is and obviously, if this were BS, why would the Department of Defense post the whole transcript on their website verbatim?
No, I think that they've got it figured out. I really do. I mean, well, look, you can use your own eyeballs, people. Look, go outside, and if you don't see it today, check again tomorrow or check in again in another week. But just spend a few minutes looking at the sky, and inevitably you're going to see a jet airliner at 30,000 feet flying over, spraying a thin little white line. The white line will stay there, and then it will expand, and it'll get bigger and bigger. And in the afternoon, it's going to be a hazy white on the whole sky. But in the meantime, you're going to see 10 jets doing it. So, and, if you get your binoculars, you look at these jets, they're not commercial jets, people. And I know they're saying, they're adding it to the jet fuel of commercial jets. Well, the last time I looked, every time I see one of these, it's a white or a silver speck. It's not, Southwest Airlines where you can see orange underbellies and blue underbellies. And I mean, these are Air Force jets.
I heard somebody called into a radio show the other day and asked about Evergreen Airlines, and the host kind of poo-pooed it like, I've heard of that, but, they're putting it in the jet fuel and everything, which it would not surprise me. But I don't think that's the only way that they're dispersing it. I don't think relying on jet airplanes to, disperse things from their in their exhaust is the sole way that they're doing this. Because if I was on an airplane and I saw white exhaust like that spewing out of the back of the engines, if I was sitting above the wing or behind it, and I saw a mist of white crap spewing out like that, as opposed to the contrails that usually wisp off the tip of the wings, okay, I would be like, is that smoke? What the hell is that? The average layperson would freak out. And they could be putting stuff in the fuel so that when it, the exhaust comes out, the exhaust up there has whatever nuclei in it that this stuff clings to and makes rain or whatever. I'm sure I've seen patents, where people have talked about it. Okay, it exists, but I agree that it's not the only way they're doing it. Evergreen is hip deep in this, and when you go and investigate Evergreen, they look like they're so great because they make firefighting airplanes. Go look at the company and who they are. They used to be known as Air America. Anybody remember Air America from the 60s? The big drug-running CIA operation, weapons smuggling operation? Remember all that from the 60s? Yeah. Air America turned into Evergreen Airlines. So I do not believe that Evergreen is insignificant in this whatsoever. I believe that they're hip deep in it.
Yeah, I've checked into Evergreen a little bit myself, and I think you're right. And I'm not saying they don't add, some sort of additives to jet fuel that could potentially do this. I think they probably do.
I think it's a mixture of both. I don't think they would rely on either one. I think this is too big of an operation to be relying on one thing individually. Kind of like 9/11, the tendrils go out in multiple directions.
They do, and it's grown, too. Don't forget, it started from a seed, and now it's grown huge. I mean, 9/11 originally, if we could have, got our hands around it early on, which I know we tried, but on 9/11, it's grown so big now that I don't think, it's just like Kennedy. Once it gets so big, I don't think there's any way eventually then, because now look who's in on it. Now it's the entire New York Fire Department, the entire New York Police Department, the New York Mayor's office, not just the mayor, but then the governor's office, and it goes up. Now you've got the DOD protecting the secrets, and you've got, you see what I'm saying?
You figure what happened was most of the firefighters, I mean, people don't realize, but everybody, like I've had this question posed to me, well, then all the firemen would have to be in on 9/11. No, a lot of them are dead. Most of the first responders to 9/11, we've lost more than 1,000 of them. So a lot of these witnesses are gone.
I guess I
want to. No, but when you say FDNY, I know what you mean. It's people at the top, the leadership, like right after 9/11, Thomas Van Essen. He dirtbag. Okay, no respect for him. Giuliani, when he was the mayor, it's the same thing. All these people. Look at the guy that was in charge of the police at the time, Bernie Kerik. Isn't he in federal prison right now?
He sure is, thank God. I mean, he'll probably be out, or he's probably doing time. Well, look, federal prison's a vacation, man. You know what I'm saying?
No, very true. Very true. We are back. Now, I urge you guys to go check out the information Rob and I have been throwing out about the earthquake weapons and weather technology and stuff like that. Go to federaljack.com and look up stuff there. Again, I will have I'm going to post this thing that Rob found during the break at the top of the hour there. And I mean, we could spend the whole rest of the show talking about it, but we'd be just repeating, certain things over and over and over again. I urge you just to go do the research yourself, because that's the only way you're really going to learn it and understand it and believe any of it, is if you go see it with your own eyes rather than hear somebody telling you, I've seen this, trust me. No, don't. You know what? Trust but verify, like Kennedy said. Go and do the research yourself. And just watch, if you want to look into it a little bit, check out what in the world are they spraying. And then next week, I think it's the 18th, is going to be the premiere of the movie, and they're going to be premiering it live. They're going to be streaming it on the site and stuff. So go check it out. Go to Mike's website, whyintheworldardtheyspraying.com, and in a week you can watch the first movie, and then in a week you can go watch the second movie. And in between, go do research on chemtrails. Look up Evergreen Airlines, okay? The Intel Hub, I'll give those guys a shout out. Alex Thomas and Shepard, and I think even Bob Tuscan was involved with this. They did this big expose about the chemtrail budget and everything else. So you just got to go over to the intelhub.com, and I forget, then just look up chemtrail budget on their little search engine thing, and I'm sure it'll pop up. Or just do what Rob said. Google, go to Google and put in Intel Hub /chemtrails/chemtrail budget. I'm sure the article will come up. And Alex and them put together a really stunning article with a ton of information in there. I mean, and then go from there. Don't just go there. There's tons of other places to look. There's many other people that have been out there fighting this issue. And go give them some of your time and sit down and listen to what they have to say. These are not condensation trails. The sky is not blue anymore. When I was a kid, you used to be able to look at a blue sky. Now it looks like somebody pissed all over it. It's yellow and hazy. I live in South Florida in the tropics, okay, where the weather is nowhere near anything like anything else in the rest of the United States. All right, the upper, I like to call it the upper 49 and a half because from about midpoint down is where the tropics are and the tropic weather is in Florida, and it's nothing like anywhere else, okay? And we're supposed to have blue skies, crystal clear blue skies, and they're horrible. They're hazy. They get these zigzag patterns across it. This is not normal. When I was a kid, I could look up at the sky in Jersey and it was blue. And it's not like that anymore. So I urge you to go research it and check this stuff out. Now, Rob, I want to move on to a few other things because there's so much to talk about, and I want to get your take on, your opinion on a few things. There's this local broadcaster by the name of Ben Swan, and he works for this local Fox affiliate. And I don't know, he's not here in Florida, but I don't remember what state he's in. But this guy's got a set of brass balls that wouldn't fit in a dump truck, okay? And I hope he has someone who starts his car for him in the morning, because the things that he gets into, I'm surprised they even air it on the local TV. Of course, Fox News never picks it up, but I'm surprised even the local affiliate airs it. He's become quite big and had gained quite a following on the internet. And he was doing he did a broadcast. He does this thing called Reality Check, and he put one out the other day about Fast and Furious. And a lot of people don't realize they want to blame Obama just for Fast and Furious, and they say it was the Obama administration framing the Second Amendment to take guns. Now, yes, that's true. That in part is true. The Obama administration was using it, but it was something that was actually started back as far as the Bush administration. And when you find out what was going on, this whole argument over the fighting about the Second Amendment thing, and you look at why Holder wouldn't release documents, it wasn't about him not wanting to get in trouble with the Second Amendment. It's because they were running drugs and allowing the Sinaloa cartel. They were pretty much giving them federal protection while taking out other cartels. They were working with the Sinaloa cartel. They were arming the Sinaloa cartel. And that was the big reason why they got caught with their pants down when Agent Brian Terry got shot. So I'm going to play this clip really quick. And Rob hasn't, as far as I know, he hasn't heard this thing. So I'm going to play it, and then we'll probably run right up to the break. And on the other side, I want to get his take on it and talk a little bit about Fast and Furious, because that's something that it gets pushed down in the news cycle, and even in the alternative media. You get caught up with all this other crap because there's just so much of it. You get bombarded with so many things that things get pushed down, and it's really important to not forget Fast and Furious. So I'm going to start to play this clip, and I'll probably have to finish it up coming back into the break. And if that's the case, what I'll do is as soon as we come back in, I won't even talk. We'll just come back in from the bumper, and I'll finish up the clip, and then I'll go to Rob. So here, let me start the clip so we can at least get to it somewhat. Check this out.
Well, the ATF gun runner and Fast and Furious operations, which spanned both the Bush and the Obama administrations, are two of the most stunning government operations to have come unraveled in years. Tonight, new and stunning accusations about Fast and Furious, and why one high-ranking drug cartel official says Americans have it all wrong. Ben has the reality check you won't see anywhere else.
We've told you before that Justice Department memos obtained by CBS prove that the feds plan to use the numbers from Fast and Furious to push for stricter gun laws in the U.S. The attempt was to claim that the majority of guns headed into Mexico and being used by drug cartels were coming from the United States. But that is simply not true. Well, today, TheBlaze.com began reporting excerpts from a soon-to-be-released book titled The Weed That Just Won't Die by Reed Williams. Williams looks into federal documents surrounding the case of Jesus Vicente Zambada Nebla, known as the Sinaloa cartel's logistics coordinator. Now, this guy was extradited to Chicago last year to face federal drug charges. Now, before we get into all that, we should explain how the drug trade in Mexico worked prior to the start of this drug war. For decades, Mexican drug cartels existed independently of each other. They didn't work together, but they did stay out of each other's regions. So to understand, take a look at this map. These are the major cartels in Mexico. We'll start over here in this top corner. This is the Arellano Felix organization up here in orange. It has trade routes into Southern California through Tijuana, and it's a very profitable group. The Beltran Leyva organization is a less large cartel, but still pretty powerful. There's Los Zetas. That's this whole pink area right here. They are actually a paramilitary group created by our government. They were actually trained to take out cartel leaders, but went into Mexico and became a cartel of their own. Then you have the Gulf Cartel, who has been heavily at war with Los Zetas. Down here in the dark green, you have La Familia Michoacana. You have the Creo Fuentes organization. That's up here in this little purple one. They actually look like they would be the smallest territory, and land-wise they are. But they're actually one of the most powerful drug cartels in many ways, because their routes go up through West Texas, through El Paso, and Ciudad Juarez. And finally, and this is very important to the story, is this light green right here. That is the territory of the Sinaloa cartel. Look, if you want to understand Mexico's drug war, then you have to understand how the Sinaloa cartel works. A man by the name of Joaquin Guzman, also known as Chapo Guzman, is the head of this cartel. In 2001, Guzman was being held in a Mexican prison. He actually escaped from that prison in a laundry truck. He went back and took control of the Sinaloa cartel. And when Guzman did, he began a war with all these other cartels across Mexico. The goal here, the attempt, was to create one super cartel by wiping out all of the competition. It has been long believed in Mexico that Joaquin Chapo Guzman got a lot of help. And that is the war that has been fought in Mexico heavily since 2006. So back to the Fast and Furious allegations.
Now, I'm going to pause it there because the break's coming up in a few seconds. And on the other side of the break, what I'm going to do is as soon as we come back in from the break, literally, you're going to hear the bumper music come up. And as soon as the bumper music pots down, I'm just going to play the clip right from there. So you got a little background on the Sinaloa cartel, the drug war in Mexico, in case you weren't sure, Chapo Guzman and everything else. Now, keep an ear out, because as soon as we come back, you're going to hear how it connects to Fast and Furious.
And that is the war that has been fought in Mexico heavily since 2006. So back to the Fast and Furious allegations here. The man making those claims, again, Zambata Nebla, is a close associate of Chapo Guzman and the Sinaloa cartel's logistics coordinator. Zambata Nebla claims that under a divide and conquer strategy, the U.S. helped finance and arm the Sinaloa cartel through Operation Fast and Furious in exchange for information that allowed the DEA, U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement, ICE, and other federal agencies to take down rival drug cartels. The Sinaloa cartel was allegedly permitted to traffic massive amounts of drugs across the U.S. from 2004 to 2009, during both Fast and Furious and the Bush-era gun-running operations, as long as the intel kept coming. And there is more. Based on the alleged agreement, the Sinaloa cartel, under the leadership of the defendant's father, Ismael Zambata Nebla, and Chapo Guzman, were given carte blanche to continue smuggling tons of illicit drugs into Chicago and the rest of the United States. They were also protected by the United States government from arrest and prosecution in return for providing information against rival cartels, which helped Mexican and United States authorities capture or kill thousands of rival cartel members. States in Motion filed for discovery in United States District Court by Zambata Nebla's attorney in July of 2011. So what you need to know is that members of Congress from both parties should now say, look, let's demand to see everything, every single file connected to Fast and Furious and Operation Gunrunner. That means Republicans should not be focused only on the years when the Obama administration had control. Rather, go back to the beginning during the Bush administration. And Democrats, they should be demanding to see exactly what the ATF has been doing. Not just for the nearly 50,000 Mexican citizens who have died during this drug war, but for the thousands who are yet to die. And that is reality check.
Yeah, I don't know how this guy doesn't, I don't know how he starts his own car in the morning without an issue. And of course, I'm kind of kidding halfway when I say that, but I mean, that's some truthful, factual reporting there. I mean, this guy they should put him up for like Reporter of the Year or whatever. For real. He's the only one I see actually doing their job and reporting on the facts. And if you notice, people could say, well, he's a conservative and he's just going after Obama. No, you notice he goes right after the Bush administration, too, and implicates them in it, too, and says, nope, they were doing this back in the Bush administration, and Obama got it and just continued the process. That's all. They're running the drugs. They control the drugs. This is CIA drug running at its best. And basically what you're seeing is the CIA using the so-called drug war to take out their competitors. That's what this is about. This is about helping one cartel over all the rest. And that's because the cartel is linked with the CIA. I don't care if the CIA created Los Zetas and everything else, and they help fund them and give them weapons and everything else. I think it's rather ironic, Rob, that the Los Zetas went in there supposedly to kill the cartel leaders, right? And then they end up becoming a cartel of their own. Like, who didn't see that coming?
Well, that's obvious. Look, Los Zetas it's not like they're La Familia. I mean, it's the CIA and U.S. mercenaries is what it is. Well, Mexican mercenaries, but they're trained and funded by the U.S. So Los Zetas is basically the U.S. gang or the Western gang down there. And they were working on, obviously, trying to assassinate leaders of the other gangs. They say they were after, what is that guy, El Chapo or Guzman.
And it's weird, though, that you see how they play both sides of the fence, because they're arming the Sinaloa cartel, and at the same time they create Los Zetas, and then of course
no. That's how they do that. That's how they roll. Look, remember Iran Contra? It's what they do. They fund both. They always fund both sides. So they're down there and they're fighting, the other gangs, the Sinaloa cartel. So you have Los Zetas trying to kill the Sinaloa. But at the same time, they're shipping grenades to Sinaloa, and it's the U.S. mercenaries who are in the Los Zetas. So what it is, here's what's really going on, and this guy's not telling you that. It's that the Western-backed bankers, well, I mean, I hate to use that term because most bankers are good people. It's the elite banking system, the cartel, the real cartel. What they're trying to do is they're trying to bring down the Mexican government, and that's what they did. Now they've got basically this new La Piña, I think it's called. I can't remember for sure, but it's this new form of government that they've had forever, for 75 years or something leading up until. But when they had Vicente Fox in there, and that's when all the money from Bush, I think it was $60 billion went down to Los Zetas, but it didn't just go to Los Zetas. Look, I bet most of all of it is coming from Carlos Slim, the world's richest man, the billionaire right there in the heart of it all. And there's no, down there they have true capitalism where the rich survive. You know what I'm saying? The survival of the fittest. And he doesn't have regulations and government looking over his back. He does whatever he wants. So if he's the richest man in the world, he says it's because he sells cell phones to Mexico. I'm thinking to myself, right.
What's in the cell phones that are going to Mexico that you sell?
That's one of the largest corridors for cocaine, coming straight up through Texas, right up where I live, South Texas, right here. It comes straight through the city I live in, okay? And I want people to know that Fast and Furious, it was about cocaine. It's the same thing. Look, it's what Iran-Contra. It's the same people who ran Iran-Contra, like the YouTube channel, Iran-Contra scum did 9/11. Well, they did 9/11. They did this drug running, what do they call it? Fast and Furious gun walker scandal. Well,
yeah, and that's why you notice they love the red herring argument of, well, it was all done to frame the Second Amendment.
Oh no,
and they allow that even the mainstream media, even if the mainstream media is trying to debunk it. You know what I mean? I'm doing air quotes when I say the word debunk. When they're trying to debunk it, it's all a game, because they're playing this game in the front, so you don't look behind the scenes as to the real reason why they would do this and what would be the purpose of it. Drugs. Right. Pan Am Flight 103 was taken down because of drugs. Okay? Mm-hmm. You go look up what Susan Lindauer has talked about on my show multiple times. Go read her book, okay? Extreme Prejudice. Those guys were killed. That plane was blown up by a rogue element within the CIA who had infiltrated a terrorist organization and started to run drugs. Okay, and they didn't want to give up the money they were making. So when an oversight team came in, including CIA and FBI agents from Washington, and said, "Whoa, what the hell are you doing? We're going back to Washington. This is over." Well, they were the ones that were on Pan Am Flight 103, and there was a lot of people, government officials, by the way, that were told not to get on that flight, and they canceled their flights. And because of that action, all those school kids that were waiting on standby, the college kids, got on that flight, and then they blew the hell out of it. Okay? That's what happened to that flight. That's what happened to Pan Am Flight 103. Drugs happened. The illicit frigging drug trade. Iran-Contra. Everybody made a big deal out of it about, the media tried to blow it up into, they tried to twist the facts as best they could, back then. And there were still some real reporters around back then. But most of the facts got twisted. Nobody realizes that whole thing was about drugs, the illicit drug trade. Okay, it goes back to Bill Clinton. It dovetails with Bill Clinton. Mena, Arkansas, those kids on the train tracks when Bill was in the office of the presidency. This is all about drugs. What's the one main undercurrent that everything is connected to? Now, I know the New World Order, Illuminati, all that crap. I'm talking about what's the one thing when it comes to making money, what's the one thing that is the one huge, channel with no floodgate on it? What is the one huge thing that they always do? They run frigging drugs. And why? Because then all the money that they make from it, it's black money. They can do all these black ops. They can do all this stuff behind the scenes. It's off the books. You don't know about it. They don't have to go to Congress. That's why they started running drugs in the first place, because they got tired of going to Congress and begging for friggin' money. And they didn't want it on the books. So they said, you know what? Okay, we'll cut Congress out. We'll just go run drugs and make our own money. And in fact, they make such a killing that, of course, you get people that are greedy. And sometimes they get off here and there. But the one main thing this is all about is drugs. It's all about the illegal drug trade. It's how they make their money. And most of these scumbags that are in power, like Bill Clinton or Susie Hoover, when it comes to cocaine and other things. Papa Bush. Oh, yeah, he was a big-time drug addict. Cheney. You wonder why his heart was in such a crappy shape. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to break. Stay tuned. Final segment coming up. Don't go anywhere. We are back, ladies and gentlemen. Final segment of today's Sunday edition of Down the Rabbit Hole here on the Orion Talk Radio Network, oriontalkradio.com. And, man, time flies by whenever I have guests on. But, Rob, whenever you come on, it's like I blink and, the end of the show is here. What the hell happened? So it just, boom, like that. We were talking during the break, and Rob's like, man, it's over already? Yeah, it goes by that fast. Well, since the show went by so fast, I wanted to get this one clip out because Rob brought this to my attention, and I don't know what to say except for the fact that it reeks. There's red flags all over this, but at the very least, it shows the ineptitude of the morons that are guarding our federal buildings from quote-unquote terrorists. And I got to thank Rob for bringing this to my attention. They found a bomb in a federal building that was stored under the security desk for weeks. Wait till you hear what these idiots did. Check this out.
It started with a Husky tool bag. Inside of it was a Sentry gun safe. And inside it was a bomb. A contract security working at the federal building saw it outside on February 26th.
I can't even get through the beginning of it without laughing like you did, dude. Like,
sorry, man.
Inside was a bomb. Are you kidding me? Like, when you first showed me this clip, dude, I'm glad you did during the break, during the top of the hour break, because when you first showed me this clip, I was like, are you kidding me?
I just like the way he does it. Inside was a bomb.
Yeah, I want to hear it again.
Inside was a bomb.
Very, very dramatic.
Started with a Husky tool bag. Inside of it was a Sentry gun safe. And inside it was a bomb. A contract security guard working at the federal building saw it outside on February 26th of last year, carried it in, and placed it under this console. The picture from the Fed's investigation.
I think there may have been a motive there. I think they saw that it was a set of tools. And this is only my personal opinion, but I think somebody had the thought of taking that set of tools home.
Ned Timmons is a former FBI agent who is a top security consultant. He says the most shocking revelation in the report is what several guards did after the bag was inside the federal building for, get this, 3 weeks. They tried to identify the contents. That included shaking, moving the metal safe inside to see what it contained, and it had the IED, and using an X-ray machine. They never determined it contained a bomb. That was done by a Federal Protective Service inspector.
They beat the odds there by shaking it, and then it didn't ignite.
The guards at this and many federal buildings are screened and trained, but they work not for the government, but a contractor to save tax dollars.
They go on the cheap, and a lot of these are out, $10, $11 or $8 or $9 that they're paying the people, and these people, you get what you pay for.
You see, this is why I think this is a little shady, and then I'll let you go off on it, Rob. And although this does highlight the fact that they hire morons, to guard the federal building. So there you go. Okay, they're worried about terrorism, and they're telling you your neighbor could be a terrorist, but their guards are obviously not that high up on the mental alertness scale. And like he said, they might have thought it was a set of tools and wanted to take the bag home, which that could be the truth. But it almost sounds like that's a little bit of a planted story, only because of the fact that they find this quote unquote bomb, right? And what's the key words they used in it? IED. How come you never heard that until the past few years? They started throwing that in there, and now all of a sudden in the past few months it's homegrown terrorist IEDs, homegrown terrorist IEDs. So instantaneously now this bomb, supposed bomb, because we really don't know, we haven't seen that it is, right? This is just Homeland Security saying it. But according to this story, this IED was sitting under the security desk for 3 weeks. And who knows, maybe these morons really did think it was a set of tools and they were trying to figure out how to take it home.
That's a strange story. What I'm thinking here is, number one, why is there a bomb in a Husky bag just sitting wherever, I guess, in front of this government building and probably outside?
If it's a terrorist attack, why didn't the bomb go off for 3 weeks?
Yeah, and also, yeah, exactly. I mean, and then if a person says, oh, wow, here's a bag of tools, I'm going to take this bag of tools, I'm going to take it home, so I'm going to go stash it in here for a minute. And so they stash it in there. Well, you would think within a couple hours or at least a couple days, he's going to open up to see what he got. You know what I mean? If he's a thief, so he needs to know what his booty is. What did he take? He's not going to... You don't steal a big bag of Husky tools and forget about that. You know what I'm saying? You don't just forget it, especially because if you're in a position of needing to steal, you're going to need the money you're going to get from selling these tools or whatever. So for 3 weeks... Look, every time there's a bomb involved, the FBI is right there. So, I mean, who was shaking this bag? That's what he's saying. Someone sitting there shaking it.
Yeah, he said it was the guards trying to figure out what it was. So apparently, I guess they would pull it out from underneath the desk, and shake it around, and then put it back underneath. Yeah, they X-rayed it, and they still couldn't figure it out what it was. And then finally, somebody from the Federal Protective Services figured out that, quote unquote, it was a bomb. Now, again, it just reeks of like false flag crap. Because almost like they tried planting some false crap and it didn't work and it backfired on them, and now they have to, now they're playing damage control because somehow it got out. This just reeks though, dude. Where's the pictures of the bomb? Where's the evidence?
I'm saying, where's the videotape of the person who left the bag? Because that bomb was probably destined for the airport. I'm not saying it was, but that would be the next thing is FBI sneaks a bomb onto an airplane. And
I've seen that before.
Yeah, I know. That's what I'm saying. Every time that there's a bomb involved, the FBI seems to be the one that makes the bomb. They plant the bomb, or they'll, and then they bust the person with the bomb, and the person they bust is an FBI agent. It's like a big game. It's just a security state theater. That's what I'm going to start calling it. Yeah, the security state theater is just a... I mean, hey, they do operate kind of like in a Shakespearean model where life is comedy and tragedy, and that's kind of the way they operate. You know what I'm saying? I don't know if you watch these people enough and watch what they do, it's just... little coincidences that happen with numbers or names. Those aren't coincidences, people. Like Cash Carey, a name like that. That guy, they put him there to take the fall because he has the name. Cash and Carry. Carry it out the door, right into my little safe, No, I'm just saying that.
No, I know what you mean.
This whole thing, it just stinks, But what sucks is we'll probably never get the answer. That video is there, and it's like, okay, well, hey, there was just a bomb hanging out in front of a federal building, and and federal employee takes it inside, and
well, that's why I like your YouTube channel, because your YouTube channel is a repository of these type videos. I used to, when I had more time, I used to upload constant videos and nuggets of information like this all the time. And honestly, between running Federal Jack and doing my radio show and, lining up guests, doing my production work behind the scenes and stuff like that, it eats up a lot of time. And I don't have the time to do it I still upload videos to YouTube and stuff. I just don't do it, I do it about half as much as I used to, to the video nuggets like you do. And you are one of the only channels that is like this huge repository. And once in a while, not once in a while, a lot of times I rip stuff and I'll put it up onto mine, or I'll just rip it from your channel as a backup to keep it in case it goes the way of the dodo. And I usually try to embed your videos onto articles and stuff. But it's a great repository of information because little nuggets like this, like you said to me, hey man, check out this minute and 23-second video. Tell me what you think. And you could sit and tear this thing apart and go over, but there's right off that little news nugget, that minute and 23-second news nugget. There's a lot of things that you have to look at and question, like what? And they would use this as an example of some false flag attack, or some homegrown extremist attack where they want to get you and kill you. So if it weren't for you and your channel, dude, people wouldn't have access to little video nuggets like this. So I applaud you.
Well, thank you, man. Thanks. The reason I would post a video like that, not only, I'm not trying to scare people. Hey, there's a bomb on every street corner, which there could be, who knows? But what I'm saying is, look, someone needs to be held accountable. Let's get the videotape of that street corner or that office, the entryway. There's a videotape of it. Let's find out who dropped the bomb off. He's going to work for the FBI, okay? And then let's find out where he was heading with the bomb, But I post the video because I'm hoping somewhere out there, maybe in Washington, D.C., someone will watch that video and they'll be like, what the hell? Let's get to the bottom of this. A video like that, it normally will not happen, but some other videos, sometimes someone with more clout and more power than myself will be able to
a lot of times your channel is good. What I like is especially if something goes down, something shady goes down, you can go back in your channel and you'll find little nuggets like where they were almost pre-programming for the event that they were going to do a month or two before, and you'll see where they'll start to throw things in the news to kind of prep people for what's going to happen. So having a channel like that, or for filmmakers and stuff that need a news clip where they want to show someone's a liar. I mean, your channel is great for that.
Loaded with it,
we're gonna be out of here in about 50 seconds. So go ahead and plug your Facebook, your Twitter, and all your channels again, Rob.
Right, I'll do the Facebook. It's Pigmine News, facebook.com/Pigmine News. Go there and Pigmine free on YouTube, and that'll get you there. But the video, it's a big resource. I'm proud of it, but it's not for me. It's just a general service for everybody. Get out there and check out those videos. There's like 7,000 of them now, and it's just nonstop, and it's a lot of work. And so if I can't respond to you, if I can't post to your blogs, if I can't post to your pages, I'm sorry. It's just so much work. I'll try. It's just for every video, I have to watch 100 videos.
Well, Rob, thank you. We're out of time. Ladies and gentlemen, I'll catch you again Wednesday. We're out of